The production of souls is more important than the production of tanks. And therefore, I raise my glass to you, writers, the engineers of the human soul. World War II was fought for the abolition of racial exclusiveness, equality of nations, and the integrity of their territories, liberation of enslaved nations, and restoration of their sovereign rights. The right of every nation to arrange its affairs as it wishes. Economic aid to nations that have suffered, and assistance to them in attaining their material welfare. Restoration of democratic liberties, and destruction of the Hitlerite regime. World dictatorship can be established only when the victory of socialism has been achieved in certain countries or groups of countries, and when these federation of republics have finally grown into a world union of Soviet socialist republics, uniting the whole of mankind under the hegemony of the international proletariat, organized as a state. A man's eyes should be torn out if he can only see the past. As we know, the goal of every struggle is victory. But if the proletariat is to achieve victory, all the workers, irrespective of nationality, must be united. Clearly, the demolition of national barriers and close unity between the Russian, Georgian, Armenian, Polish, Jewish, and other proletarians is a necessary condition for the victory of the proletariat of all Russia. Anti-Semitism is dangerous for the toilers, for it is a false track which diverts them from the proper road and leads them into the jungle. Hence, communists, as consistent internationalists, cannot but be irreconcilable and bitter enemies of anti-Semitism. In the USSR, anti-Semitism is strictly prosecuted as a phenomenon hostile to the Soviet system. According to the laws of the USSR, active anti-Semites are punished with death. It takes a brave man to be a coward in the Red Army. A lot of times, I can turn and pass without even looking. The only way a kid is going to practice is if it's total fun for him. And it was for me. He who votes does not have power. He who counts the votes has power. We are 50 or 100 years behind the advanced countries. We must make good this distance in 10 years. Either we do it, or they will crush us. A single death is a tragedy A million deaths is a statistic. It is enough that the people know there was an election. The people who cast the votes decide nothing. The people who count the votes decide everything. Ideas are more powerful than guns. We would not let our enemies have guns. Why should we let them have ideas? When we hang the capitalists, they will sell us the rope we use. Education is a weapon whose effects depend on who holds it in his hands and at whom it is aimed. Mankind is divided into rich and poor, into property owners and exploited, and to abstract oneself from this fundamental division and from the antagonism between poor and rich means abstracting oneself from fundamental facts. Everybody has a right to be stupid, but some people abuse the privilege. I trust no one, not even myself. Gratitude is a sickness suffered by dogs. Everyone imposes his own system as far as his army can reach. Gaiety is the most outstanding feature of the Soviet Union. The writer is the engineer of the human soul. Print is the sharpest and the strongest weapon of our party. If any foreign minister begins to defend the death of peace conference, you can be sure his government has already placed its orders for new battleships and airplanes. If the opposition disarms, well and good. If it refuses to disarm, we shall disarm it ourselves. A sincere diplomat is like dry water or wooden iron. It is difficult for me to imagine what personal liberty is enjoyed by an unemployed hungry person. True freedom can only be where there is no exploitation and oppression of one person by another, where there is not unemployment, and where a person is not living in fear of losing his job, his home and his bread. Only in such a society personal and any other freedom can exist for real and not on paper. Great Britain provided time. The United States provided money. And Soviet Russia provided blood. Divide the world into regional groups as a transitional stage to world government. Populations will more readily abandon their national loyalty to a vague regional loyalty than they will for a world authority. Later the regions can be brought together all the way into a single world dictatorship. In speaking of the capitalists who strive only for profit, only to get rich, I do not want to say that these are the most worthless people capable of doing nothing else. Many of them undoubtedly possess great organizing talent, which I would not dream of denying. We Soviet people learn a lot from the capitalists. But if you mean people who are prepared to reconstruct the world, of course you will not be able to find them in the ranks of those who faithfully serve the cause of profit. The capitalist is riveted in profit, and nothing can tear him away from it.